So, I mean, this leads to the question of why. Well, tell us a little about your background. Where are you from originally?
So I'm from Canada, from Toronto. My wife's
My
from
hometown.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't born. I was born in Ottawa, but I grew up in Toronto. And my wife's from Pittsburgh, and her life's dream has been to move to Russia. My wife, since
Your
she was.
wife's dream.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I want to. She's gonna see this,
I
and
can't imagine anyone's dream to move
yeah.
to Russia.
No, she's from Pittsburgh, and we for me it all started when I was 18 and I came to run a camp for the first time in this part of the world, and it's a long, interesting story, but basically I was just so moved by what I saw that I just
What did you see that moved you?
so I was invited to come help operate a camp, and I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't speak a word of Russian. My parents were born in Canada. My grandparents were born in Canada. So it's not like I'm second generation or had some Russian, but I was studying in a yeshiva in Israel. And in the summer, what do we do? In Chabad yeshivas, we're taught to, in our free time, to find a way to do something impactful to help Jewish communities and to help, especially with camps, running camps, helping kids. So I was planning on going to California. A friend of mine convinced me, let's go to Crimea. Let's go help. There's children there. They need support. They need help. I didn't really want to, but he convinced me. And I ended up in 1998, if I'm saying, we landed there, and I was driven 20 hours to the campsite, and I was given a whole bunch of kids that were supposed to be my bunk. We didn't have any common language. We didn't know what we were doing. But I just saw kids that came to camp. They came without suitcases. They came with just bags. And I was like, where's their stuff? And they said, this is everything. And they had just like one change of clothing. Each night they'd take a bar of soap by the sink. They'd wash their clothes. They'd hang it up to dry, and they'd switch the next day. And there was poverty. But what really touched me was their lack of any knowledge of anything Jewish. 70 years of communism, it had its toll. But they had this thirst, this desire to learn, to become Jews, to be proud of their heritage. But what really threw me off, what really changed my life was about a week and a half or 2 weeks into camp, when a camper came up to me and he said, Chaim, yachachu abrazanya, I want to do a bris. And I just didn't make any sense. A kid, he's 14. I had campers 14 years old. They're almost bigger than me. These big guys, and I'm a camp. He wants to do a bris. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like 8. We do a bris at 8 days old. So I didn't even know what to say. I just gave him some. I gave him a basketball. He ran off. He came back, and I really want to do a bris. I gave him candy. We had, what we always had in our pockets, American candy. That was like the way. If the going gets tough, candy solves
Just like the
everything.
other guy.
So I pulled out
Of
every
course.
candy. Exactly. I pulled out every candy I had. I gave it to him, and I thought, okay, he's off that night. I had a meeting with the head staff, and I said, we have a problem. This kid in my bunk wants to do a bris. And he said, yeah, the moel's coming. And I said, here it's a camp. Yeah, the moel's coming.
Oh, wow.
And sure enough, a couple of days later, the moel showed up, and these children that were denied having a bris at 8 days old. Why? Because their parents knew nothing about it. Suddenly now at age 14, they just felt this, I want to get a Jewish name. I want to come back to my people. And a great self-sacrifice to themselves. They did a bris in camp. They chose a Jewish name. I was a sandak. I was holding their head as they did it. This boy Dima took the name David. Ruslan took the name
Wow.
Reuven. Anton took the name Tzemach. And I just left that summer thinking, wow, look at the sacrifice they have for Yiddishkeit, for being Jewish, for, coming back to the fold, to their heritage. What am I doing? What sacrifice do we have in Toronto? What
Right.
and that just made me think. And then I came back. So for me, it was always like a given. I came back, I ran camps. I established one of the bigger camps here called Yeka, which was, a camp that really made a big impact. And I always knew I wanted to come back here to serve, to be a shliach in the country, in this part of the world. This is where Chabad.org, birthplace was, in Russia, and they suffered through terrible hard times, difficult times, communist times. The Nazis came and occupied many parts of the country and the city I'm in, and now it's time. Let's give back. Let's help these Jews come back.